The third piece that the commissioner does is the head of the largest fire department in the state of Washington. The department's primary fire mission is fire protection of state lands, but also of private property. And over the past couple years here, in particular, we've had some catastrophic fires here in this state, and DNR played a major role in working those fires. So that's the primary duties of the commissioner. The way I intend to execute this office is to first start by, let's see where we stand in the agency, and assess the agency and assess the trusts so that we can provide the very best management for revenue generation in order to, for the trustees or is the legislature for distributing those trust funds to the schools and universities in the state. One of the things, and there's a lot of kind of interrelationships here that come into that job, and let me kind of touch on them as they come. One issue that we're facing right now is our forests in general in the state of Washington, and I am including state and federally managed forests, are in a state that needs repair. They're unhealthy for the most part. And the reason is that we've decreased our timber harvest, and we've stopped working and managing our forests over about the past 20 years. And in order to prevent these catastrophic wildfires, and in order to generate revenues, it is my intent to increase our timber harvests, yet remain at or below the level of harvest that is sustainable in perpetuity. Okay? I also fully intend to protect our endangered species. I intend to fully protect our water quality in this state. And I really hope to open our forests up for recreation. But to do so, we have to get into those forests, and we have to manage those forests. And the things that we have to do right off the bat, in my view, is to get in and do fuel removal from the forest floor, which is a process that's already been started by the current commissioner, Commissioner Goldmark. The second piece that we have to do is get in and thin our forests. And if you look at this forest right here behind me, this forest here is a bit too thick, and I'd like to get in there, and I'm going to get into my forest here and do some thinning here over the winter. But what we need to do is we need to really get in and do some thinning of our forest, which, by the way, will generate revenue through those operations. Again, we need to remove fuel from the forest floor. And I intend to accomplish that by removing that fuel waste from the forest floor and take a hard look at using those fuels for generation of power through biomass generating plants, small biomass plants that can be used to provide electrical power for small rural communities. The next part of this is to conduct prescribed burns, and then finally grazing. And people say, well, why do you want to graze? Well, grazing helps to remove seasonal fuel loads. As grasses grow, some of the most catastrophic and killer wildfires that we have are as a result of grasses that reach a certain height. They dry out and they burn very quickly. And there's several cases of fire over the years where, by not grazing these areas down, firefighters have been killed in the line of duty in managing those. So, a grass-type wildfire, or a prairie fire, if you want to call it that, is very dangerous, and it moves very, very quickly. 3 or 4 seasons ago, we had what was known as the Taylor Bridge Fire, which is out just east of Cle Elum, Washington. And that bridge was started when some welders working on a bridge, some sparks fell and started a blaze. The winds came up, and within hours, that fire had burned almost 20 miles. It's destroyed property, and it was bordering the town of Ellensburg, about a 20-mile long front, and it burned very quickly. So reducing that seasonal fuel load of grass through grazing is a good way to go. It also allows our ranchers to get in and use these lands with agricultural leases and grazing leases to generate revenues for the state. But it also, we're helping to protect our food, one of our food sources, which is cattle. The third piece of wildfire prevention is for us to go into these lands and be able to attack fires when they start. In the process of recreating these healthy working forests, it's going to take years. And we cannot allow fire to burn out of control until we get our forests back under, good, solid management. And once we've reached that threshold, then if we have a fire, the odds are that we can manage it because the fire is burning along the ground and not in the treetops. And if you get a fire up in these treetops, it's virtually impossible to put out, okay, because of the explosive nature of the resins that are up in the needles of the fir and pine trees. So that's an important issue. We have to, and I'm going to, empower local fire jurisdictions and private property owners to be able to go in and safely combat fires when they get started. And the key to safely means let's make sure that they have the tools to understand when they can attack and when they should not attack, and if they are attacking, when they should escape to protect life. Okay. The other piece with this initial part of the attack on fire is to bring in aerial assets quickly to put the fires out. And we just have to do that for now until we get our forest back into a state of good health. Finally, on the mobilization for fires, fire knows no boundary. It's going to burn where it's going to burn, and what the fuel and humidity and climate conditions do, or the weather conditions do, to take that fire where it's going to go. And it knows no boundary. It's going to burn where it's going to burn. Yet, it's troubling to me that fire knows no jurisdictions. And we keep fighting fire along jurisdictional boundaries. And over the past couple seasons, and we're lucky this season, but in 2014 and 15, we lost many homes. Firefighters lost their lives. A fourth firefighter was seriously burned. And in fact, a very good friend of mine who was also seriously burned in a police line of duty fire is mentoring that kid to get him through this trauma that he faced. And I'm proud of that guy's my friend. The final piece of this then is to work with the interagency fire centers in Boise, Idaho, with the Forest Service and other federal land managers to come up with a comprehensive firefighting plan that ignores jurisdictional boundary. If we mobilize for a fire, we work it together, okay? And we keep giving local firefighters a say-so in what's going on, because nobody knows the terrain better than the local guys.
Absolutely.
And that was proven, last summer at a fire up on Chelan Butte. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to streamline that. We're going to make it better, and we're going to actually fight these fires until we get a handle on our forest quality.